The Evil Grandfather is a horror story about my grandfather, the village magician. One of the most powerful horror and suspense stories. There are many things that we may think are normal, but in reality they are completely opposite. Such as being completely confident that someone is good, but what he does in secret is different from that. Our story today is a true example that a person may have to faces. The first being the kind, smiling face that he loves, everyone. And the other is the terrifying face, as behind this face hides satanic actions. To say the least, they are actions that do not belong to goodness at all. Our appointment today through our website is realistic stories with a new story of exciting horror stories. Our story about the evil grandfather is horror, and it is one of the most wonderful stories. We hope you enjoy this story, and we hope you like it. The story of my grandfather, the village magician. My name is Samar. I am an 11-year-old girl. I live with my family in a house located in one of the beautiful rural villages that is dear to my heart. In our village there is a school where I go to learn. I have friends and neighbors. We play with each other every day in front of our homes. Life, for me, a beautiful life is flawless. Let us now introduce you to the family members whom I have all the love and respect for. My father, who works like most men in the village in agriculture. My mother, who cares about me and loves me very much. And sometimes I feel that she loves me more than my brothers. I have 3 brothers, and they are Meram, who is my oldest sister, who is 16 years old, and my 2 brothers, Mason and Madge, the first of whom is 13 years old. Madge is my younger brother, and he is 8 years old. My grandmother and grandfather live with us in the house. They are also among the closest people to me, especially my grandfather, who cares about me a lot. Everything was normal until last year. Last year, something happened that no one expected. We go back to the beginning of those events that transformed us from a family loved by everyone to a family that was ostracized. And all of this was because of a family member who did not expect to be the person who loved me the most. Some strange things began to happen to certain people in the village. We may wake up in the morning to find that someone has gone crazy, or that there is a woman who has become infertile and will not give birth. In fact, we used to say that this is God's decree, and we should never object. One day I woke up about an hour before dawn. I wanted to drink a little water. While I was walking in the hallway of the house, I saw the door of our barn open. I was afraid that the animals in the barn would escape, so I went to it to take a look and to close the door. As soon as I approached the barn door until I heard a conversation going on, I approached closer. At first I thought there were thieves in the barn. I discovered that the one talking inside the barn was my grandfather. What was strange to me was that my grandfather was talking to someone as if he was running away from something. That person was covering his face as if he did not want anyone to see him. I could not listen to what they were saying, but I heard them talking about one of the village residents. Then that person finished his conversation with my grandfather and I left. I went to hide to see what would happen. This strange person came out of the barn and my grandfather closed the barn door and returned home. That day I could not sleep. There were a lot of things running through my mind. Who is this strange person, and why were they talking about that person in the village? Curiosity was killing me to find out who that hidden person was and why he was hiding his face. I had no choice but to watch the person whose name was mentioned in that secret meeting. I also decided to watch my grandfather to see what he was hiding after passing. About 4 days after that night, something suspicious happened in the village, something unimaginable. That person that my grandfather spoke about with that strange man, a very bad thing happened to him. That person went blind and suffered from a health condition that the doctors in the village told him that he would not survive and that his days in this life were numbered. I do not hide from you. I felt afraid of my grandfather and was certain that he would not. He never did the right things. I watched my grandfather more, and it was a surprise that shocked me greatly. I saw a woman with my grandfather in the barn, and this time I heard the entire conversation. I discovered that my grandfather was performing witchcraft on people in exchange for large sums of money, and this woman wanted to cause harm to her neighbor. My grandfather took the money from her and told her that he would cause harm to the victim within 2 days. As the days and months passed, the village people discovered what my grandfather was doing, so they decided to expel us from the village without going back. I was the person who suffered the most because I lost the life that I loved. I lost my school, my friends, and my neighbors, and we turned into outcasts because of my grandfather. We now live in a village very far from the village in which we used to live. As for my grandfather, although he feels great remorse for the witchcraft he performed in the village, in reality he is no longer loved by family members, especially since he is the reason why he made us leave everyone we loved in the village. In the new village there is a school that I go to and I have made many friends, but they certainly do not know the reason for our moving to this village. Today we have reached the end of the stories. Subscribe to the channel for more horror.